What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy FrankieBones, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the NFL Divisional Round, giving you guys a little preview of what I think is going to happen, as well as give you guys some picks that I am liking and throwing together in a parlay, and see if we can make a little bit of coin this weekend. And just wanted to put a quick message of putting information down in the comment section below and in the description. If you or somebody that you know, a family member, a friend, is having trouble with gambling, where they have a gambling addiction or it's negatively impacting their life or any of their relationships with their family or friends, please feel free to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER, as well as being able to reach out to your local gaming board, who would happily be able to provide you with additional resources to assist you as well. So after that quick message, we'll dive right into the slate. This weekend we have games on Saturday as well as Sunday. No Monday game today. We just have 4 games on the slate. So we should be able to put together a nice little parlay, which I'll show at the end of the video as well. Odds may not be perfect as lines are subject to change before the games. I'm recording this on Friday morning, so might be a little late line movement action here, as we do typically see. So keep that in mind as well throughout the video, that lines are subject to change, as well that I may be taking alternate spreads as well. So to kick things off with the first game, we are traveling out to Arrowhead, as well as the Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are flying out to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. This game will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, and this game will be on NBC. The spread that I'm seeing right now on the books is Kansas City minus 8.5, which, again, is a pretty large spread, but we do have the Jaguars coming off probably one of the craziest comebacks in playoff history that we've seen of late. Obviously, remnants of some 28-3, but we don't have to go there. But talking a little bit about this game, how I'm going to break these down is talk about sort of what these teams I think are going to try and accomplish, as well as sort of answer the question, X team will win if, and sort of lay out what a good game plan might be and what a positive game script might be to lead to a victory for each team. So for this game, starting off with the Jaguars, obviously coming off of a incredible win. They were down 27-7 at halftime against the Chargers. They were able to come back. It was a tale of two halves for Trevor Lawrence, and they're able to hit that last-second field goal and go on to walk them off. So some keys for the Jaguars that I think that they're going to need to try and win this game, although I think it is very much an uphill battle. The notes that I've written down here, one thing that's incredibly, incredibly important is they will need to win the turnover battle, as well as, in my opinion, the penalty battle. Now, Trevor Lawrence had 4 interceptions in the first half against the Chargers. That will not win them the game this weekend. There is a negative % chance they win this game if Trevor Lawrence throws over 2 picks. They need to take care of the ball. They need to maximize their possessions, because if their defense is on the field, a lot of the game against a very, very good and dynamic Chiefs team, this game is going to be over. So I think that's the first key. They need to win the turnover battle and the penalty battle, which a lot of times you can't control, but have to try and do what you can. Next thing that I think they need to do is establish the play action. I think that this goes hand in hand with my last note, which is hitting deep shots. The Jaguars need to have that dynamic aspect to their team. They have a good running back in Etienne. They have some receivers that have shown flashes, whether it be Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, who's been around for forever, and him and Trevor have a great connection as well. So look to go to him on third downs. And some important downs, Evan Ingram has been playing well and having a resurgence in the second half of the year. But I think they need to establish the play action, most importantly, because I think that goes hand in hand with their deep shots. There was a pretty great clip that they showed. I think it was Zay Jones that hit that home run ball where they had a great over-under concept, and they were able to get it loose, and it was hilarious to see Zay Jones really put his head down and book it for that pylon. The safety came down to bite on the under route. I think that was on Christian Kirk, and then boom, he's wide open. They need to try and create some concepts that are going to work against the Chiefs. They need to be able to have big plays because the Chiefs are going to do that as well. And they're going to need to score points. And honestly, that's how this team scores points. They can run the ball. They can have good drives, but I think they're going to need, one or two deep shots with probably both of them ending up in the end zone for them to really have a shot in this game. So flipping over to the Chiefs, such a dynamic team. Their defense is really coming into shape. I love Chris Jones. I think he's one of the best defensive linemen in the league. Has been for years, but he's a D lineman. He plays interior, plays outside, so he doesn't get quite as much love. Sort of like Sexy Dexy, but an absolute game wrecker. But what I have some keys for the Chiefs, if they will win if situations, limit the gadget plays, run the football, and get their playmakers involved. So the gadget plays, that's going to be on defense. So they're going to need to make sure that they're getting off the field on downs that they should. So like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 4th and 4, 4th and 2. I think the Chiefs need to really put a stranglehold on this game. I wouldn't say the Jaguars have an explosive offense, although they do have explosive plays in the arsenal. And Trevor Lawrence has shown that he can hit those big plays. I think when you take the gadget plays out of this team, and I think that there will be many with Doug Peterson in this game, I think once you simplify it and you're able to really understand what they're trying to accomplish, I think the Chiefs' defense will be able to make enough stops in this game. For Kansas City, I want them to be able to run the football. I think that this Jaguars defense is vulnerable against the run. I think we sort of saw it in the first half of the Chargers game last week, where they just decided to stop running the ball with Austin Eckler. Probably the oddest thing I've ever seen, and some people are probably calling for Brandon Staley's job, but I don't think that the Chiefs are going to mess around too much with this. They have Pacheco, who runs super, super hard. Jerick McKinnon is in the mix, who was a touchdown demon over the last 5-6 weeks of the season. I think he had like 8 touchdowns. So get both those guys involved, get the run involved, and from there you're able to spring some of your gadgets, some of your motions. You bring in, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore kind of guys, and sort of get the game going. In terms of my note on getting playmakers involved, get Kelsey rolling early, get some shots up to MVS, use your guys on offense that make plays for you. Get them going early, feed them the ball, and get everybody involved. Because they really have so many weapons on this team that I think almost every player on offense has an opportunity to make a big impact for this team in this game. So moving to my pick, I was sort of a sucker last week with taking a lot of the big spreads, but I'm going to take the Chiefs full spread here. You can buy it down to 6.5 if you want, which actually I'd probably feel a little more comfortable at Chiefs minus 6.5 on an alternate line. The Jaguars are a great story. They really turned it on in the second half. I think that they're really building something special down there. Have a great core. They have some great young guys. The offensive line was shored up a little bit. bringing in like Brandon Sheriff and some other guys this offseason. I just think that it's going to be too much. I think that their defense is going to struggle against the Chiefs. I think that everything that I'm seeing lines up for a positive game script for the Chiefs. And I just think it's going to be too much traveling on the road after just such a massive win. I just think that there's too much energy exhausted on that. Yes, the Saturday stat, that's cool. I'm not really a stat guy. That's why I'm not listing a ton of stats in these previews, because stats are made to be broken. Stats are confined to a window of variables. I don't like that. He's going to lose this Saturday, and it might be pretty ugly. It might not, and they might play close, but I think that the game script really leans towards the Chiefs. I'll take them at an alternate spread at 6.5. So, moving on to the big game of the weekend. We have the Giants traveling down to the Link to play the Eagles. This game will be on Saturday night, 8:15 Eastern on Fox. So, these teams have played together twice already this season. The Eagles have won both matchups. Really only going to talk about the first game. The second game, the Giants played third-string Davis Webb and none of their starters. And they played Kenny Golladay. Guess he's technically a starter, and he scored. But that game was 22-16, I think, 22-18. With the Eagles' full starters, I think, that was Jalen Hurts' first game back, but everybody in offense was playing. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds. We'll talk about the first game a little bit. Eagles win 48-22. This is in MetLife. Daniel Jones gets hurt throughout the course of the game. The Eagles were able to run the ball right down the Giants' throats. Over 250 total rushing yards. Miles Sanders had a great game. Jalen Hurts, I think, had 7 for 77, something like that. But ultimately, it was just a negative game for the Giants. Only 9 runs for Saquon Barkley. It doesn't matter what the score looks like. Saquon Barkley carries the ball more than 9 times. And that, I think, was a mistake. This game was in week 12, so they didn't play till a little bit later in the season. But the G-men were a little banged up on the offensive line as well. They allowed 7 sacks on Daniel Jones. I don't think that they're going to have 7 sacks unless Hassan Reddick has 7 sacks. That guy's a monster. But how I see this game going, everybody knows exactly where this is going. And I'm going to get to this even before the breakdown. Giants, 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 Giants. Money line, money line, money line. If you're scared, take the spread, plus 7.5. Money line, money line, money line. Lock it in. Car bookie. Little Stu Feiner there. But I think the Giants can very easily win this game. You look at how they played week 18 with the backups and the third strings against the starters. That was in the Link. Everybody loves this Link stat. Oh, the Giants haven't won in 10 years in the Link. This team, this year, is 0-1 in the Link. And that's all that matters. And now it's with a third string where they lost by 4. And that was 2 weeks ago. The Eagles had the bye. They were off this past week. The Giants did play this past week. The Giants played extremely well this past week. The Giants played extremely well on the road this past week. All of their massive playmakers had great weeks this past week. Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones throws for 380-plus yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. It's lining up for the G-men. And if you're not believing it, you're not seeing it. You're not seeing the potential with this team and what they're potentially going to be able to accomplish on Saturday night. Some keys for the Giants: dominate on the ground game, both Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. Get your pressure with 4. If you're able to get the pressure with 4, Wink's able to bring in that dime defense, have all those defensive backs on the field, play some aggressive zone, and limit yards after catch, which is where A.J. Brown thrives. I don't think we can let him get loose. He can catch it, but no breaking 40 yards after the catch. None of that business. But I think Wink is really going to mix this up as well. But if you're able to get that pressure with the 4, you're able to mix up the looks, have different defensive personnel, and force them to run the football, which they did do in the first game. But, it's with a good team, you're going to have to try and take away one of their hands and force them to play one-handed. And also, like I said, limit yards after catch. Going to need to be good on special teams. Boston Scott in that first matchup was pretty effective for them on special teams with punt returns, things like that. That cannot happen in this game. For the Eagles, a couple notes that I have is contain Danny. Try and really be sound with your gap responsibilities. Don't let him flood out. Don't let him extend plays. Because as we saw last week, when he runs the ball, he gets first downs. He's a big guy. People just don't realize it, I guess. He's 6'6". He is 230 pounds. He is as fast as Lamar Jackson. But people disregard him as a runner for some reason. Another key that I have for the Eagles, this would be on offense, is to force them out of the dime defense, like I was sort of saying. They are going to try and run the ball early, establish the run, and use different formations and looks to have effective play action, try and get their guys over the top, and really just try and get the Giants and Wink away from really what they're comfortable running and have been running effectively over the past most of the season, but especially last week against the Vikings team, who, outside of the quarterback, I think they're built, pretty similarly. They have one great receiver. They have one pretty good receiver. They have a great running back, pretty good line. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but I see some similarities in the scheme as well. So maybe that's just in my head, but it wasn't meant to be a dig at the Vikings or the Eagles. I just, in my head, think that it's a little bit similar, and the game plan might be a little bit similar. And effective play action, which sort of talked about. Establish the run early, try and get the play action going, get some deep shots, get Dallas Goedert involved, and be able to extend drives. So those are some keys. Like I had mentioned, Giants money line, Giants spread, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll be taking both. But the reality is, and it's the age-old saying, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. They almost lost the second game with nobody playing. And now they just took the week off going up against a hot Giants team that's got a lot of swagger right now. With Dayball and the boys absolutely bumping. You guys are really coming together. Danny Dimes' connection with Hodgins is getting really good, with Slate and Bellinger getting back in the mix. Saquon, his legs are healthy. He might run it 30 times this game. And I think that, don't want to say the Giants are going to be too much, but I think this spread was pretty disrespectful for in the division, playing a third time. Give me the Giants, baby. Let's go blue. Moving over to Sunday, 2 incredible matchups going down on Sunday as well as Saturday, but I think this is the day that everybody's anticipating, and let's get into it. So, the first game will be the Cincinnati Bengals traveling into Buffalo to face off against the Bills. This game will be on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern on CBS. The spread for this game is the Bills minus 5.5. Now, honestly, I think that this spread should be Bills minus Damar Hamlin. I mean, this is a rematch of the game where a few weeks ago we saw one of the most surreal moments for everybody, everybody watching. Everybody on the field was an incredibly scary situation. And I think it put a lot of things into perspective for people. But I did want to give a quick shout out to the medical staff for both the Bills and the Bengals for acting so quickly. It really shows that prompt and proper care can really make an impact in this situation. And I think that everything was handled incredibly well. And I think that they deserve a round of applause, always being there, always being ready, always practicing for this scary situation, which is almost unfathomable that it almost hasn't happened in a way, to not be disrespectful about the situation. But an incredible job by both medical personnel, everybody at the UC Medical Center, and our prayers are obviously with Damar on his road to recovery. But he will be at the game, allegedly. He will be at the game, and I think off the bat, that alone might be too much for the Bengals. But we'll get into this game with some of the keys for the Bengals. I have contained Josh Allen, which is very hard to do, but you're going to have to try. You're going to have to be sound in the gaps. You're going to have a spy on him, a linebacker, not a safety, a linebacker, your best backer, because Josh Allen is a freight train, and he might run that guy over too. But it's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to stay in your rush lanes, try and squeeze the pocket on him, limit the rollouts, limit him extending plays. They're going to have to establish the run and the screen game. I think that they need to utilize their speed on their offense. They need to try and mask some of the issues that they have up front on the offensive line, getting the ball out quickly. They're going to need to change up looks and formations to try and incentivize maybe some mistakes from an aggressive Bills defense. But I think that they really need to get this screen game going early, whether it's T. Higgins or Jamar Chase or my boy T. Beasley, Tyler Boyd. They're going to need to get those guys involved, get the ball in their hands, do it quickly, get Joe Mixon involved in the screen game. They have had some difficulty running the football, so find creative ways to get the ball to your playmaker in space, give an opportunity to run. I think that the Bengals also need to try and force some turnovers. We've seen that over last week in particular, but over the last few games or so, Josh Allen has been prone to turn the ball over. Take some big shots. You need to be there to make those plays. From the Pat McAfee show, if Jesse Bates III gets an interception, that'll be $50,000 towards his charity, which would be incredible. So be on the lookout for Jesse Bates getting an interception this week. But they need to try and force some turnovers. They need to try and get their defense off the field. It's going to be a high-powered offensive game, so try and steal a possession when you can. And I think that ultimately win the turnover battle will be really important for the Bengals in this game. Now, going through my Buffalo picks, I think these teams are very similar in the way that they're run, so their keys are kind of similar as well. For the Bills, run the ball early, convert on third down, and avoid negative plays. So I think they really need to get both Singletary and James Cook involved. I think that this Bengals offense can, sputter out on some drives, I think, because of their offensive line. I think that they will have some short series in this game. I think that Buffalo really needs to utilize grinding down this defense. They need to try and keep them on the field. And, with running the football, they're going to have to end up loading the box if they're able to do so effectively. A.Q. Shipley's talked about it. They have a great offensive line, the Bills, so I think they need to try and utilize this, going forward, really get this run game going for this playoff push that they're looking to go on. Convert on third down again, just stay on the field. When you have the ball, Joe Burrow doesn't have the ball. Pretty similar with the Bengals as well. But avoid negative plays. I think sometimes they have negative plays on first and second down. Just don't get yourself behind the chains. Put yourself in an opportunity to be able to convert on those third downs. Have it be third and manageable instead of third and long. These are little small things, and they might sound kind of similar to the Bengals rather, because they are. I think they have pretty similar game plan going into this game. But in terms of my pick, I'm going to go with Bills money line. I'm a little bit scared to lay the points. Maybe lay like a 2.5 if you want to try and get a little more juice in the parlay. But I like the Bills money line. Back at home with DeMar. He's been around the team this week, which I think has been incredible for the team, very uplifting. And I think with him being at the game, I think that this team is going to rally. They're going to come out hot. And I think that they're going to be able to cover that full number, but I'm just going to take money line instead. I got burned on some big spreads last week. Not that 5.5 is huge, but these are two teams that have played each other a fair amount the past 2 years. And I think I'm just going to be a little more comfortable taking the Bills money line as opposed to the spread in this game. And moving on to the last game of the divisional round weekend, we have the Dallas Cowboys going up and traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. This game will be at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox. In this game, the Niners are 4-point favorites. This is another one I don't think that they got correct. I think that this should be closer to a touchdown for the Niners. I'm not really sure why the spread is looking like this. The Dallas Cowboys beat down on a, honestly looking back, terrible Buccaneers team. The Dallas Cowboys have not played well the second half of the season. Dak has not played well the second half of the season. He did play well last week. We have to give him his flowers there, and Stephen A. did. But, I don't think that this spread is accurate of what it actually should be. I think it's more of a Vegas line than a legitimate line. But breaking into the keys for each team, for the Cowboys, stop the run. Stop the run. This is by far the biggest key. They're going to have to find some way to slow down Christian McCaffrey. Good luck with that. But they also have Elijah Mitchell, who's looked really, really good coming off IR at the end of the season. And they also have Mason, who is a great runner as well. They have 3 legitimate running backs who have the ability to make an impact on this game. They also have Deebo Samuel, who is looking healthier and healthier. And last week, I think it was a screen or a short pass, or it was a crosser coming back across, and he just sent it to the house. He's probably going to run the ball too. And the Dallas Cowboys have trouble stopping the run. And I think that is going to be by far the biggest key for them in this game. But in addition, also a few more notes. Get off the field on third down, or this defense is going to be on the field all day long, because this team seemingly does not have negative plays. Christian McCaffrey falls forward for like 8. It's incredible. But get off the field on third down. Establish the play action. They will need to run the ball against this Niners defense. We see it week in and week out on Pat McAfee show. Everything DB, Darius Butler talks about it. Their linebackers are too smart. They're too disciplined. Their defensive backs are phenomenal. Their scheme is great. They get great pressure with their 4. They need to establish the play action. They need to hit those big shots. Gallup has to come down with that ball, or Noah Brown, or T.Y. Hilton is going to be prominent in this game, I think, as well. They need to establish play action on offense. And the last thing, don't let Brock get loose. People are laughing about Brock Purdy. You shouldn't. Because this guy's a gamer. He's more than a gamer. This team is buying in. This team rallied around him coming in. They have looked absolutely phenomenal since came under center. I think he's had one of the best, 5-game starts of any quarterback ever. And I think that, don't let him extend plays. He's been able to roll out of the pocket. He is athletic. He can run with the football. But on those boots, he is creating a lot of damage. And if you're not able to contain him there, I think it's going to be a very long day. So for the 49ers, keeping this pretty quick because a lot of this is mirrored to what the Cowboys are trying to stop. Keep doing the same thing. Run the football out of those same sets. Use those misdirections, those pulling linemen. Get your playmakers out in space. Find Kittle early. Get the ball in Debo's hands. Ayuk will play a great role, whether it be catching or blocking. He's an incredible blocker downfield. He's the one who sprung that Debo touchdown down the sideline. And get the ball to your best player in CMC. So keep doing more of the same. Limit the turnovers. I think if they have 0 turnovers, I think there's 0% chance the Cowboys win this game. And prevent the chunk plays. Avoid those Tony Pollard swing passes that go for 50. Avoid those busted coverages. No yards after catch. It's a great tackling team, but just mentally be sharp on defense. Don't allow those chunk plays. Force this Cowboys team to drive the ball all the way down the field, 10, 12 plays to punch it in, because I think that they ultimately will make a mistake here or there. And I think that'll ultimately be the difference in this game. For my pick, I will take the Niners with the points. I think that this is a safer play with the points. Again, it's at 4, so you can buy it down to 2.5 for a fairly reasonable price, I would imagine, like minus 145, something like that. But ultimately, they're just way too damn good. That's exactly what I wrote down. Just way too damn good. Their team is dominant. Offensive line, defensive line. Dominant. Their skill players are so special. Their linebackers, like I had mentioned, so smart, led by Fred Warner. I love this group. Dre Greenlaw, such a great linebacker as well. They're just a dominant team, and I think the 4 points is disrespectful. Cowboys are traveling out to San Francisco. Sure, there'll be a lot of Cowboy fans, 2 massive fan bases in the NFL. So it's a very big clash for them. Fox is licking their lips at these ratings, but Niners are just too much at the end of the day. And I think this was a free one that they gave us, and I really hope that they don't know something that we don't, even though they always seem to. So just to wrap things up, talk a little bit about the parlay that I'm going to put together. I'm not going to do odds because I'll go through a couple of different options. If people are feeling more comfortable on certain games. But what I am going to be throwing together in this parlay and my 4 most confident picks that I have this weekend, I have KC, Kansas City at an alternate spread. We'll take them at 6.5. I think it's a little more comfortable in the 8.5. I think they will win by a touchdown. I have the Giants, whether you want to take all of the points plus 7.5, whether you want to do an alternate, get those odds back up for you, or whether you want to take the Giants money line. I'm comfortable with all of those picks. I love the G-Men. It is not just because I'm a Giants fan. I think that they do have a good game script, although people do not think that they do. And it's hard to beat a team 3 times. And we're going to find that out on Saturday night. I like the Bills money line. If you're comfortable taking an alternate spread from the 5.5, you can do so. Maybe take it at a field goal, -2.5. Or take the full points if you're really that confident. I think that the game can go this way. I think that DeMar will have a large impact emotionally in the stadium and for this team. I think this is a huge game for them. So I'll take the Bills' money line. And then I'll take the Niners with the points. It's simple. How is that not hitting, guys? It already hit. I think the money's already in my account. That's how confident I'm feeling about this play. Again, to recap, Kansas City -6.5. Giants, I'll take the points in the parlay, but I will also be taking money line. I have Bills money line and the 49ers -4, covering that against the Cowboys. So let me know down in the comments section below who you guys think is going to win. You guys can tell me who you're backing. You guys can tell me if you're one of the Johns. You can tell me how Philly's going to beat them down and you'll be at Xfinity. Even though it's not going to happen, let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the Cowboys-Niners game. Probably the most talked about game of the week. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys are riding with, who you think is going to win. I feel pretty confident about this matchup for the Giants as well as the parlay. It's good feelings here on this Friday morning, but I do appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving on the past few videos. I do appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving on the past few videos. Really means the world to me. I've been having so much fun creating this content for you guys. If you guys are craving more sports content, not a huge NBA guy or NHL during the regular season, but as those playoffs roll around, I'm sure I'll be cranking out some of that content for you guys as well. Anybody who's not a Yankees fan, you're probably going to hate me by the spring. We're going to be very heavy Yankees on this channel. That is something I love to talk about. May even end up doing some live streams. I love doing the scorebooks. I love breaking down games, doing watch parties, things like that. It's really excited for the future of the sports content if you guys have been enjoying it. But for now, that is going to do it for me, guys, for this video. Appreciate all the support. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below what you guys are looking forward to this weekend. But that is going to do it. This has been your boy Frankie Bones, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out.